If you've been watching the media at all, you're seeing some familiar headlines. Uptick in hospitalizations across this country due to COVID. And the government now is spending $600 million to fight against that. So we're seeing this effort go forth again, and it looks like we're walking down an all too familiar path. Now, before we even get down that path, I'd like to take a moment and say there's things you can do on your own. Don't worry about the government if that's your concern. I'm going to put a link below where you can buy ivermectin from a U.S. doctor, from a U.S. pharmacy, sent straight to your house. Because what we're dealing with right now is we're dealing with a lot of fear tactics. I saw an article today saying that hospitalizations, 20,000 just in the first week of September, mostly being seniors and children under the age of 5. And if you're not planning ahead, you may find yourself in a terrible situation like we did in 2019, and that's what this video is about. Is to plan ahead. A lot of people are going to lean on the government to save them again with this pandemic. And if you're one of those people that's not in on that, well, I'm here to tell you, take care of yourself. That link is below. You can get a full dose of emergency antibiotics and add ivermectin to that. This is something that most Americans, when we first started dealing with this in 2019, just started really looking for anything that they can find. There's a lot of rumors going around. There was a lot of people suggesting you drink bleach. There was so many terrible ideas out there, and people just kind of had to find their own way through that. And as we walked away from that pandemic, many of us saw that it really wasn't quite what we thought it was. And if you're gonna lean on your own self-sufficiency, and we see this again, it's something you might consider. And that's really all this video is if you're wanting to look for alternatives, you can now get ivermectin from a U.S. pharmacy and a U.S. doctor prescribed to you in the link below. This is just really, and it's not just the pandemic. Having emergency antibiotics on hand is really critical. My wife and I recently traveled, and she started to get an ear infection, and we had emergency antibiotics on us. And it's fantastic to be able to just say, well, we could just take care of ourselves. We don't need to call any doctors. We don't need to see what's been approved and what hasn't been approved. Take some time. That link is below. You can get a full dose of emergency antibiotics and add ivermectin to it. If that's your means of preparing. Again, that link is below. Now, I also want to add through that same link, you could get your chronic meds, heart condition meds, things like year's supply of your chronic meds to have in case of an emergency. They've added 63 new medications just in the last few weeks, again, from a U.S. pharmacy and a U.S. doctor. But by far the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. And never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.